Welcome! Today we're reacting to what does Palantir actually do, because I actually have not much of an idea what they actually do. Like, I know they deal with surveillance and, you know, they have quite questionable when it comes to some stuff. At least that's what the internet says. So yeah, let's find out. Okay.
When today's rich and famous tech companies talk about what they do, they usually say something like, "We are connecting the world."
I mean, yeah, they do.
And by that they mean, we are creating a sexualized Farmville that is as addictive as opioids. So when I learned that...
Is that real?
last year's best performing stock by
Okay.
growth was a Silicon Valley unicorn
Okay.
by the name of Palantir,
Yeah.
I was pretty sure I knew what they were up to. Probably they made a streaming service called Boo Boo, a housing
They
rental app
removed the subtitles, by
called
the way.
Housely, or earbuds called Doinkers or whatever. But just to be sure, I looked them up. At which point it became clear that these cats are a little different from the techies who typically cross my desk.
We built this kill chain, the digital kill chain. How do you defend your country and kill your enemies? Our product is used on occasion to kill people.
Two things here, folks. First, I have wet my pants. Second, what?
I love this editing. And this guy's personality. This is like my first time watching like this guy, right? And I really like him.
As always, I began my investigation on Bing.com.
Oh yes, good old Bing.
Which I used to type in Google.com, which I used
Smart.
to search for Palantir.com. A quick spin through their site will tell you that Palantir
AI, okay.
is all about AI-powered automation for every decision and delivering
Can we AI automate factories so we don't have to send workers so they don't have to do shitty jobs over there and they could, like, I don't know, stay at home or do something bad and sit in front of a machine 24, like, for 8 hours and then, you know, go home or something, I don't know.
outcomes for the West's most powerful institutions. Sentences that boldly ask the question, what if Genghis Khan and Ronald Reagan had a baby who wrote mind-numbingly boring marketing copy? However, I did come across one thing in my research that even I can wrap my noggin around. Whatever Palantir does, it makes them a lot of money.
Palantir stock is booming, absolutely skyrocketing.
Palantir has been a...
yeah, buy. I don't think you have to buy anymore, to be honest. They are going to, like, be going up either way.
standout this week.
Until AI stuff happens, and then they're gonna fall, basically.
Surging 22%.
That is a massive rise.
Hugest outperformers of the last year.
Right now, there is no comparable company.
I'm here bravely outside of the offices of Palantir. Their stock rocketed up 340% in 2024, peaking this winter to give them a valuation of over $250 billion. And
That's quite a lot of money.
although their stock price has dipped since then, they remain right up there with the likes of AT&T, IBM, and those hunks over at Cisco. But I couldn't...
What does Cisco do? Okay, can someone in the comment section tell me what Cisco does? Because I know the other two, right? But I don't know what Cisco does. I never heard of them.
let the money distract me. Not now. If I was to truly understand Palantir, I was going to have to take more drastic measures. Like calling people who actually know what they're talking about.
Can you
Oh
answer?
my days. Man is talking to people that know shit. Oh no. I mean, oh yes. Impossible.
That question for
Actual
me
proper
here and
journalism.
now, what exactly does Palantir do?
I will say two things. The fact that you're asking that question goes to the heart of the company and the confusion over it and also the mystique of it. Number two is I will tell you what they do. They want to win Defense Department contracts. Commercial contracts as
That is a lot of money. I see.
well, but I think they have their eye at the prize.
Sharon Weinberger is the Wall Street Journal's national security editor, and much like me, she's been covering the U.S. defense industry for over 20 years.
They got their start going back to 2003 in trying to come up with a data analytics platform. We're in the middle of the war on terror. We're involved in operations in Afghanistan. We're involved in operations in Iraq. And what is our number one problem there at the time? It's insurgency. It's roadside bombs, IEDs that were killing U.S. and allied soldiers and infantry on the ground at a really alarming rate. So Palantir came in and said, look, we can take all of this information that you're collecting, and the Defense Department collects a whole lot on the battlefield, and integrate it in a database and help you spot bad actors.
Oh, so it's like prediction mechanism, like it kind of it should predict what would happen, maybe.
That is what they pitched themselves as doing when they were first sort of coming on the scene in 2003.
Okay.
2004. And
I was like reading the note here.
really
I was
for
like,
the first
okay,
decade
yeah.
plus of its existence. What they've expanded to today is something much bigger, in some ways more interesting, and
Okay, first thing that comes to my mind here is the you know the like okay, you know Psychopaths, right? The anime, yeah, the anime Psychopaths, but a very good anime. First season was amazing, right? By the time we get to season 3, that takes us a while, yes. But if you ever seen season 3, there is this like machine called Bitfrost, right? And it basically predicts. It's a gambling machine for rich people that basically predicts that like whatever happens, basically, kind of that kind of jazz, you know. So I don't know why, but I'm getting like this sort of idea here right now.
Causes them to be more successful, which is they are a problem solver for the Department of Defense. You have a problem, we will solve it.
All right, so here's the deal. Palantir is a data analytics software company who got its start during the War on Terror and today has big ambitions to be the U.S. Department of Defense's go-to problem solver.
The idea of a Silicon Valley company saying we kill things, that we're interested in serving the Department of Defense and the Department of Defense wages war. That was simply unprecedented back in 2003. It was what made them unique. People hadn't seen it, and that they were going to compete with companies that had been around for decades and dominated the market.
I mean, that's actually a very smart way of like getting through into the business, because it's like, well, nobody wants to do the dirty job of dealing with the, you know, military people, right? But we see profits, we're gonna do it, you know? Like, this is what happens, because it's like, when you deal with the military people, like, there's a lot of, like, you know, a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, basically. That's all I know. when I think of, like, you know, when you do business with military people, you know? Especially, like, US military, you know? And, yeah. So it is quite unprecedented, but it's a good way of getting into business and making big money. So yeah.
Darren's talking about here are commonly known as the big defense primes. Places like Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Northrop Grumman, and Raytheon. The Department of Defense gives these chillers huge contracts to make fighter jets and stuff.
One of the things that these new companies like Palantir are kind of helping to disrupt, which is probably good, is the system of prime contracting and defense contracting. We have a few big contractors that have these giant contracts, and they have cost overruns. One reason the Pentagon's budget is so big.
Margaret O'Mara is a historian and professor who studies the modern history of American politics and business and how they overlap.
And this is something that policymakers have been pushing back against for decades and trying to rectify. So yeah, having more companies in the ecosystem, that's probably really good.
Hey everybody, just popping in here to say happy birthday to Jeremy J. Watkins. Jeremy is a man whose information I bought from a third-party data broker. I happen to enjoy collecting people's data and presenting it around my house. Now, if anybody wants to send Jeremy a gift in person, he lives on 28 Stowe Avenue in Huntingburg, Indiana, and he recently searched for cheap fleece pullovers and hemorrhoid ointment. And if you don't like how I was able to scrounge up all that data on Big J here, then I suggest you look up something called Incogni. Incogni is an online service that ensures your personal information.
I'm not gonna talk about like Incogni because I seen a video that they're like half working, half not. That's what I heard, at least.
People searching.
If they ever sponsor, like, I feel like I just lost a potential sponsor, by the way, but whatever. just like, oh yeah, if they could ever sponsor me, whatever,
never know where your personal data
in my
might
wildest
be after you
dreams.
spend time surfing the web. Targeted ads, random newsletter signups, and unwanted spam emails all end up being ways that your info gets slurped up by the bad guys and later put into my personal prized collection. Incogni works by scanning all the people searching sites you may have been linked to and sending them requests that they get your personal data out of there. Then they continually track down and add any new data brokers to your profile that might try to sneak in there after you've made an account. Right on. Haha, right on. And if you go to incognito.com/goodwork, then you get 60% off an annual plan. So if you don't want your
60% from annual plan is actually pretty decent, honestly. This is pretty good deal, I would say. Maybe like if you actually like think it's gonna work, then yeah, go for it. But it's like, pretty good deal, 60% off.
data
You know?
shopped around the shadowiest realms of the internet until I print it out and hang it in my guest bathroom. Then check out Incognito. Palantir is at the front of a new group of companies who say they are going to disrupt the old, slow, bloated defense primes with their new, efficient, innovative, user-friendly Silicon Valley style. Because you know, you either die making boring old fighter jets or you live long enough to see someone come along with their own swarm of autonomous attack drones.
They've made a ton of really senior hires from US government agencies, and also a number of really senior Palantir executives have been appointed by Trump to senior government positions.
Oh, that's interesting.
Has been hiring well from, I guess, the pool of people that know how the government system works.
Tabby Kinder is the Financial Times.
That is actually pretty smart when you hire, like, okay, hiring people, if you want to do business with the government, hiring people that used to work for the government is actually pretty decent. Like, not only you're gonna pay them better than they probably whatever they had from the government, because let's be honest, like, government wages are not the best in many countries, I would say. But yes, but you also get the insight, you also get the connections as well. So you get a lot of like benefits from having those people around, you know.
Times West Coast finance editor, and Cynthia O'Murku is an investigative reporter for the FT. Together they wrote a piece about how successful Palantir has been at landing government contracts, pointing out that the company has done quite a good job of cultivating, shall we say, intimate, toe-tickling relationships with governments.
Palantir has been built on people from government. They are obviously informed. They're people that work on these really crucial like missions and in the armed forces and all those sorts of places where Palantir has traditionally sold its business.
And boy, have these boys been selling some business. Palantir has landed over $1.3 billion in Department of Defense contracts since 2009. This is for stuff like the Army's Vantage Data Analytics platform, this James Bond-style AI satellite computer suitcase.
I love how this thing looks. I would like to own one, honestly. but personally, I wonder how functional it is. Because, like, this looks like a good piece of memorabilia. Like, you know, like a good souvenir that you would get and be like, I'm happy because I have it. You know, you're going to put it away into, like, you're going to have some fun with it maybe. And then, like, maybe, you know, show it off in your man cave or something. Or maybe you're going to put it away and you'll never see it again, you know. That's the thing that like, I imagine this to be. But it's like actually probably, hopefully, it's a proper military tool, you know? Hopefully. I actually wonder how it works, yeah.
An AI-powered drone system called Project Maven, and Titan, the Army's first AI-defined vehicle which promises to do things...
Is this Tesla's Cybertruck version 3.0?
like reduce sensor-to-shooter timelines, reduce soldier workflow burdens and cognitive load, and enable long-range precision fire for the modern battle space. Basically stuff that not only goes vroom vroom and pew pew, but also beep boop beep.
Wow.
Scary shit here, folks. But Palantir's government
I love the reaction. It's just like, oh, yeah, it goes pew pew, it goes bang bang, and it goes beep boop beep, and he's like, that shit's scary.
Tracks extend well beyond the military. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the U.S. contracted Palantir to track outbreak data and set up a system to distribute vaccines. More controversially, Palantir reportedly helped Immigration and Customs Enforcement with all sorts of stuff, including a surveillance system to plan and organize workplace raids on an original contract worth as much as $127 million. During the 2010s, the New Orleans Police Department ran a secretive partnership with Palantir to test predictive policing technology, which could have been named Minority Report if we had any taste. Around the world, Palantir's tech is being used by the Ukrainian military, by the Israeli military for war-related missions, and by the British government to overhaul the technology behind the NHS, England's state-run health.
Yeah, it did not fix the NHS, by the way. Fixing, like, I don't think Palantir has the power to fix the NHS. I don't think even the British government has the power to fix the NHS, honestly. You would have to delete the NHS and build it from ground up if you wanted to fix the NHS. But that is the same thing, like, in, all over Europe. That is probably the same thing. Like, you're gonna be waiting in lines for whatever there is, you know?
Service, which oversees one of the biggest repositories of individual patient data in the world.
So in the UK, it became quite a controversial, set of contracts that were implemented. The UK government had opened itself up with open arms, or welcomed Palantir with open arms, whereas civil liberty groups and groups with privacy concerns were a lot more skeptical. I think there's been a lot of concern around Palantir and it's what it really means for them to provide these services, and especially privacy advocates.
Does Palantir know that I had like ear infection at like age of, I don't know, that was like long ago, 14 years ago. Man,
been very
that's ages.
About its offering.
I think that's like the only piece of data NHS has on me, because I never like went to doctors, you know?
Palantir has pushed
like ever. I never needed to.
This concern, but I think it is about transparency and how much access can you get and what can you do behind the scenes that another company cannot, and that is being done outside the purview of the public.
And even with all this government work lined up, Palantir has still managed to girl boss its way into an impressive...
I want to see the meme. Drink some coffee, put on some gangster rap, and sell AI data systems to an oil company. Okay.
Book of commercial business. Banks and government regulators use stuff like Palantir's anti-money laundering and customer data tracking products. BP has been a longtime partner, using Palantir's software to support its digital transformation program. Palantir's chief technology officer tweeted last year that the company's AI clients include United Airlines, Lowe's, General Mills, and Do Not Sleep on Tampa General Hospital. By Jove, they've even got their paws in big pickleball. Neighbors, if you think pickleball paddles are loud, just wait till you hear motherfucking Titan rolling down your street. It's the Army's first AI-defined vehicle, folks.
I can't. I just can't. Like, the music, the execution. Perfect.
Long-range,
perfection,
precision fire for the modern battle space. Overall, Palantir's commercial revenue in the United States jumped by 54% last year. A lot of that momentum driven by Palantir's pivot from data surveillance in their early years to AI products today. Now, the honchos who originally created this sprawling Palantir beast are none other than Peter Thiel and this guy, who looks like if Taika Waititi got electrocuted. His name is Alex Karp. Though Thiel tends to stay in the shadows like the sassy little mystery minx he is, Karp is one of those modern tech CEOs who says a bunch of crazy shit to feverish crowds of employees and retail investors that he calls Palantirians, leading them like mother flip.
This is the type of guy that would create, like, the corporate city kind of thing,
And Caesar Augustus.
It's definitely been in this kind of meme stock Reddit retail army category for a while. The subreddit for Palantir traders is, I think it's about 100,000 people now. I mean, they refer to Alex Karp, the chief executive, as Daddy Karp. He's really responded to that by saying kind of increasingly I'm trying to find a polite way to say this, just increasingly kind of out there things in his interviews.
Let me politely say this in the internet way of things. He has a big ego. Very, very big ego. Yeah, there we go. He's getting a bit of a ego boost from Reddit, and people, because he's got eyes on him, like, this is what you get when you get attention, like, honestly, like, if you think there's nobody that will get an ego boost from having, like, people watching them, then, yeah, that's a lie. That's obviously a lie. Everyone gets like a bit of like ego boost when somebody's like, there's people gazing at them or something, you know?
That's right, Tabby. It's always dangerous to start calling rich guys daddy because you never know what they're gonna feel emboldened to say next.
Me as a front man offending half of America.
I don't think in win-lose. I think in domination.
Almost nothing makes a human happier than taking the lines of cocaine away from these short sellers.
I love the idea.
What? Those statements are so confusing. I wonder if they are just out of context. I hope they are just out of context. I beg I beg. They need to be out of context.
Of getting a drone and having light fentanyl-laced urine spraying on analysts who tried to screw us.
Now, despite whatever thoughts you have on good old American Fent P, Karp is a tricky figure to pin down. Yes, he partnered with Peter Thiel, the notorious far-right libertarian who backed Trump's 2016 campaign and bankrolled J.D. Vance's political career to build a data surveillance company for hunting down terrorists, all stuff that might be easy to generalize as conservative. But then again, he backed Kamala Harris during the latest presidential election, he frequently donates to Democrats, he likes to go trail running, and loves Denver. All stuff that might be easy to generalize as lesbian. Everybody?
I didn't expect that.
I think we got a new type of guy on our hands.
Karp is someone who comes from a kind of left-wing background. Peter Thiel, who's the, founder and really the person behind.
I love the idea, just like, this guy here, this guy here, just like, you don't have to see the fact that there's Peter Thiel over here, like, underneath there. It's like, this guy, this one here,
Palantir is famous in the Valley for being a very outspoken conservative or techno-libertarian. They have these really interesting, strange bedfellows in terms of leadership, but I think they have something in common with the old style Valley of the Valley of the Cold War era, in that there's this understanding that there is a partnership that's necessary between private industry and the defense establishment in order to get the best tech in the hands of the U.S. government. It's waxed and waned, but the business of war has always been Silicon Valley's business to some degree.
The relationship that Alex Karp and...
business of war is like the biggest money you can make basically in the United States of America. Like, the second big business in America is entertainment, and the third big business is, business, I feel like you should swap out entertainment as being third and business being business as second, probably, because, stocks.
Palantir are pushing for between the tech industry and the Department of Defense isn't so much a new status quo as it is a fresh version of an old one. Karp is very open about being a fan of the old school tech industry, one where Lockheed Missiles in Space was the largest employer in Silicon Valley through the 1980s, one where the Department of Defense built the original internet, one where Oppenheimer's Manhattan Project brought together the finest scientific and engineering minds in the US to collaborate with the government. In his new book, which I read on the subway and was then...
I love that there's a guy just coming up being like, I see camera, let me go pose.
and immediately hit on by a very forward attack drone, Alex Karp argues that the tech industry has lost its way over the last few decades, focusing on consumer products that essentially abandon any serious attempt to advance society. He writes that the software industry should rebuild its relationship with the govt, and while the blending of business and national purpose makes many uneasy, it is now the job of Silicon Valley to defend the West. And it's here that Karp has differentiated himself from his 21st century tech contemporaries with how open he is about both patriotism and making tech products for killing. But his peers are starting to follow suit.
The Valley has always had these ties with Washington, D.C., but often has been very low-key about it and coy about it and pretended that, we don't do anything with those people over there. They're like, we don't care about politics. It matters nothing to our business. We're a free market miracle. And in the background, they're like, can I have this tax break? I'm interested now. It's just more overt. And now I think there's a more broader public consciousness of like, oh, wait a minute. People like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, they get a lot of federal contracts.
Now, despite Karp and Palantir's very real momentum, it doesn't mean that they are that close to revolutionizing the defense industry and unseating those old defense primes.
They have yet to prove that they can build a major weapons system better than a Lockheed Martin, Boeing, or Raytheon. They may have their own views on that, but when I look across at what's being used in Ukraine on a mass scale, that is not yet the Palantirs or Andurils of the world. Doesn't mean they won't do it, but they have yet to prove they can.
Nonetheless, it is possible that Palantir will be the future. And if they are, then the approach that they have taken to rise to prominence. Well, this would all mean...
I mean, I'm learning a bit, like, military, military defense systems, yeah. I feel like Palantir is going to grow because, like, they have a lot of money, so they can just, like, increase the scale. Because, like, unless the owners are like, let me take, like, half of the money we gained, unless they do that, then they're gonna go scale up until they're gonna be like, oh, yeah, we're the biggest. Now let me take half of the money we gained last year. Yeah.
An entirely new paradigm for how American defense companies operate.
You don't typically see the heads of Lockheed Martin or Raytheon giving opinions about how the world should be ordered. Lockheed Martin is not trying to appeal to the day traders or to the meme stocks or to any of that. Palantir they're kind of trying to sell themselves to the nation writ large. I think that is part of what is new in this era, is Silicon Valley companies saying working with the Pentagon is not a dirty business. It helps national defense. These are good things to do. And clearly their message is working. Will that work in the long term? We'll see.
Indeed, we will see. For now, though, in the meantime, I've got my eyes on you, Palantir.
Okay.
And I encourage all my fellow citizens to do the same. For if a defense company thinks that it can...
Ooh.
Oh, shit.
Okay. A fantastic video, very educational, I would say, like very journalistic. Yes, precisely that. I would say I did learn quite a bit here. Like, I did learn, like, history behind Palantir. I learned what they do, what they produce, the Titan, the Titan. I also, bro, I'm American, but, like, this channel slaps. I love the jokes, I love the gags, I love the editing here, like, definitely deserves, like, as, the channel deserves a subscription, definitely deserves a like, obviously, like, yeah. My opinion on Palantir, not too positive, I would say, probably, not positive, not really positive, I would say, yeah. Like, honestly, for me to have, like, a positive opinion on a company or a corporation, that would be, like, quite hard. Quite hard, yep. But yeah. What should I say? If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe, comment down below. The link to the video that you watched today is in the description, obviously. It's always in the description. But yes, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment down below, subscribe, maybe tell me what you want to see next time or something. Goodbye.